Yo, 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 this is Delta Tango Mike with another Thriving Artist Art Life short. Today is Thursday, February 6th, and I want to talk about customer service. What is your customer service process? It's very important for us to know what is the process that we take when discussing projects, deadlines, price points with customers that come to us, which way they come. So now you have to understand what are your goals when talking to a customer, right? So that's the first step. When somebody approaches you for a painting, a project, design, so some art, that means that they've seen your work somewhere, someone told them about you, or that they saw your store or a sign and decided to approach you. Now there's two kinds of clients at this point. They could be either one of those two, and those two are the one who's ready and has all the answers and is ready to make a deal. That's the perfect customer, right? That's the ones you want. Then you have the one who's gonna waste your time because they don't know what's going on. They don't know the process, what it takes to start a project. They don't know what's the price point that they should be have the budget for, and they don't I have not had enough conversations with designers or illustrators or artists to know how much time does something like that really take. So it is your job. It's our job as a designer, illustrator, artist, etc., to have a process that breaks down the information really quick to the point that in 10 minutes you know whether or not this is a client that you're going to take on and make a deal with right now, or it's going to be a client that could be for the future, and right now you're just going to set them straight and let them go on with their lives. There are three things that you think about. There are three things that they have to answer you right away as soon as they start talking about what they want and how they heard about you and how great you are, right? You get through the, hello, how are you? And, oh, it's great to meet you. Oh, I heard about you. That's great. That's awesome. You see my work. Oh, I like what you're doing. You get the, give yourself 5 minutes of compliments, and that's awesome type of thing before you really get down to business. Say, okay, cool. This sounds like it's something that you want me to work with you on. And I get these emails, messages all the time, text, hey, I got a collaboration thing, I want to work with you. And my every response is always going to be the same, and even in person, all right? What are the project details? Do you need a shirt design? Is it going to be some artwork for posters? Is it going to be some artwork that you're going to put on a product or merchandise? I need to know those things right now. Don't tell me this big long story yet. Don't tell me about where the inspiration came from and how it came to you in a dream. Not yet. Hold up. Also, when do you need it? Is this something that you're planning for the future? Like in the next 5 years, you're gonna have a big gaming company or a big corporate company that's gonna go public and make millions of dollars? Or is this something that you're ready to launch right now and you need it in the next 2 weeks? And then most important, what's the budget? What's really crazy is that people come to me, and this has happened to you, and they have these big ideas and they're ready to tell you to get started, and you're like, okay, well, what's the budget? Oh yeah, I got $25 on it. I see this even on Facebook right now. You go to Facebook right now, and if you're in some of the groups that I'm in, artist groups, illustration groups, people say, oh yeah, I need a comic book cover design and drawn, and the budget is $50. And I had this conversation with a book designer, a cover designer, before, where that person said, oh yeah, the companies who hire me cannot pay me no more than this amount because they're not going to make that money back. And so the thing is, you have to know your price. You have to know how long certain things take you. You have to know that if you work, how many of those you need to work on through the month to make your bills and so on, to know your real price. And it's not dependent on whether or not this company can turn around and make it a success. It's dependent on the value that you give yourself and what you're ready to negotiate and be ready to let them walk away. It is important that we value our work and not try to undercut ourselves and negotiate against ourselves, because then we can keep that the perpetuating that myth of the starving artist and that, oh, they'll take whatever we give them. In any case, that's a whole nother long story. Let me come back. Customer service. So understand, what is your process? What is it that you need to know right now to get them to understand what they're working with and whether or not they're your customer. So let's say that after I ask them these details, when do you need it and what's your budget, and it sounds like a deal, it's like, oh cool, I can work with you on that. Here's the price point. Now you're breaking it down. So here the price point is this, the deposit is that, and I need the deposit by the end of this week, Friday, so that I can get started and have it at the deadline at the end of the February for you. And then that's when they'll start making some computations, calculations in the head. You start writing down notes and like, cool, I can get you a check for that, Dan. Can you send me an invoice? Yes. That's when I get my business manager, my wife, and say, here's the client, here's the information, here's the project, send them an invoice, please, because they're going to pay online and we're going to have a deposit real soon. That's the process. You have that process, but you also have to have a process for when they're not your customer. When they're not your customer, and sometimes you get to know people enough that you can tell immediately as soon as they start talking, oh, this person doesn't know what's happening. And it's not their fault. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's just you get that feeling and you know right away because of how they say things and how they don't understand what they're even saying. Tattoos is a big one with me because I do tattoos, and people come to me all the time. They have these big ideas and they never had a tattoo. They never been with anybody who's gotten a tattoo. And then and so some of their responses will be like, well, I don't know. I'm like, wait a minute, this is your tattoo. You should have an idea. What's your idea for your tattoo? Well, I don't know. So what do you want a tattoo? Well, because I always thought I wanted a tattoo. I see my friends with tattoos. I'm ready for a tattoo. Well, you're not ready for a tattoo if you don't have a design in mind to get a tattoo. So that's when you know it's like, okay, this person is not fully cooked. So sometimes I talk to my clients and they tell me, yeah, well, our budget, that's not what we thought, what we had in mind for a budget. And I said, well, okay, cool. Well, listen, this is what I do. I need to cut this off, right? I can't spend 2 hours talking to them about their project that they kind of halfway baked and don't know the pricing, don't know when they really need it. They don't know what's going on. They're talking about a business they've never been in. So that's when I go ahead and say, okay, cool. Let me give you some information that you're going to need to have before you, and that you're going to have to work on before you talk to the next artist. I don't tell them, hey, well, come back to me when you have this. I don't tell them, hey, you need to do some homework and then we'll talk. I don't push them off, and I don't try to hold on to the relationship because you don't know what's really going to happen and if they're going to actually be ready. All I want to know right now, my process right now, is to know that they're not that customer. So I need to give them enough information so that they feel comfortable that this was a good exchange. And maybe in the future they'll come back. That's happened. In any case, so here's it is. I know I keep going around circles. Okay, all right, I got less than a minute. So my process is, okay, cool. Well, listen, next time you talk to an artist, you're going to need this information, that information. You're going to need at least $500. Do you have somebody who can do it for $100? No, I don't. None of you right now watching this, anybody who I know as a professional artist or any level artist, wants me to send you customers who are cheap and don't know how to value an artist or the work that an artist makes. So no, I don't give recommendations. I don't say you should call so-and-so because they're cheap. I don't do that. I just tell them, no, I don't know people who can do that for that price. And so what you really want as a professional artist who knows how to work with a client, produce the work that you want at the time that you need it, and can be reliable. So you should have at least $500, and you should be ready to talk about this, and this. And if and this is like children's books. I get a lot of children's book authors. They haven't even written the whole book, and they want me to start working on their artwork. It's like, well, you need to have a finished script. You need to know how many illustrations you want inside, whether or not it's going to be an outside illustration, whether or not you're going to have to design the book. So you set them off with a basic information that they're going to need to have so they can approach the next artist, and then they know now they're ready to talk about the business. This is Delta Tango Mike. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, Delta Tango Mike. I am on Behance as The Creative Genius, as well as LinkedIn. Artist King is on YouTube. Check out more of these videos and make sure your life as an artist is thriving. Peace.